What's going on, everybody? It's the day after the Eagles lost to the Jets. I don't know what to say, right, about the Eagles' focus. That's how I'm gonna put it. The Eagles' focus. Like, the Eagles went to the Super Bowl last year because they won the NFC East, and so the road to the Super Bowl had to go through Philadelphia. And that was pretty. That was a pretty clear map. It was a clear road. And yesterday, they could have developed that same roadmap because San Francisco lost to the Browns, right? And if you look at the Eagles' record, they would have been 6-0. They got Miami. They got the Commanders. They got Dallas. And even though, they got the Chiefs, and even though those games, some of those games may appear to be rough, a lot of those games is played in the link, right? With the exception of the Chiefs game is in Kansas City, but the Niners come here to play. I mean, that was a gift, right? The Eagles beat the Niners and win the majority of the games that they have. You're going to split your division games maybe, and maybe you might win two of them. But the Eagles had the opportunity, right, to just outright win the NFC East, and then the road to the Super Bowl once again had to come through Philly. I was working yesterday, so I didn't have much time to watch the game. But from what I gather from listening to sports personalities from Philadelphia on the radio, is that the Eagles had an opportunity with, I think, 3rd and 9, that they should have just ran the ball because the Jets was out of timeouts. Then they elected to allow them to score, and with the thought process that the Eagles could come back and score a touchdown. I guess I have to look at the highlights, but I did see Jalen Hurts post game interview, and what I found interesting about that post game interview is Jalen Hurts, right? He sat there and was saying, we this and we that, we have to make improvements, we have to stop making mistakes. And I'm thinking to myself, you the one that was making the goddamn mistakes. It's almost, if you go back over Ben Simmons' interviews and his demise leading up to him being out of here in Philadelphia, is one thing about Ben Simmons, he used to talk that talk about we got to get better. No, motherfucker, you got to get better. But that's what stood out to me when I heard Jalen Hurts in that interview. Because last season, it was, I got to get better, and it's on me. Go back and listen to his interviews. From the time that he started to the season that they went to the Super Bowl, it was, I had to get better. Now, right, there's a whole paradigm shift in the way Jalen Hurts approaching this whole thing with being on the Eagles, with his career and everything. Now, everybody can say, everybody got their opinion. It's like an asshole, right? But I'm pretty dead on about this kind of shit because I was pretty dead on about Ben Simmons when everybody had this guy pegged to be the next goddamn Michael Jordan, LeBron James, all that shit. I kept saying to myself, ain't no way in the world this dude is running all the way down to the basket and he could put the ball in the hoop himself and he kicks the ball out. Never seen no shit like that before in my life. I said, something wrong with this dude. And as years went on, I kept saying, I started to roast him real hard. So I was talking to an old head, and the old head was telling me, go hard on Jalen, right? But, give him some grace. So I'm going to ask Jalen Hurts, what's the story, my man? Because me personally, and I'm speaking for me, you was getting flack for your lackluster emotions and demeanor, right? Motherfuckers was really saying, this motherfucker too cool. But when you begin to produce, that was no longer on people's mind. And that's how it is. You produce, people don't care how you act, how you react, how you look, the whole nine. But I'm going back to that. You got a lackluster ass attitude and you got this look on your face like, so what? It'll be all right. Things will get better. We'll make it better. We'll adjust. It's not even I gotta get better anymore. So I'm wondering, you know what I mean? Like, I don't want to say Carson Wentz. I don't want to say bust. I really don't. Like, you were about improving, right? And I see a digress. I see it. Like, I was talking to my people, right, about I'm not the one to wear jerseys. I'm not the one to wear jerseys. I don't wear jersey with somebody's name on my back, on my front, any of that. That's just not my thing. But I was considering buying a jersey. And I looked at yours. And I said to myself, I don't want to wear your fucking jersey. Because the jury's still out with me about you. The jury's still out with me about you. It's funny because when McNabb was here, right? From the rip, I didn't like McNabb, right? Because McNabb, he had the ability, he put up the numbers, all that shit. But McNabb didn't have the DNA to win it all. He didn't have the DNA to win it all. Michael Vick had the DNA to win it all, but Philadelphia just didn't produce the team. Philadelphia just started being a class act organization. They will spend the money to get what they need and get what they want, to make an attempt to win it all. And they did that for Carson Wentz, but it comes to find out it was Nick Foles who had the DNA, right? Who had the mindset, who had the heart, who had the will. I can never, right, talk enough about how appreciative I'm of Nick Foles. I think this city did Nick Foles so dirty, right? Listen, if you want to know the mindset of the people in this city, right, just look at the Nick Foles situation. These are some disrespectful ass, unappreciative ass goddamn people, man, in Philly, because the way Nick Foles was done was dirty. That man brung us the first Super Bowl ever in the Eagles' history. And the Eagles is an old organization, right? We in a division where Dallas had Super Bowls, the Giants got like 4, Washington got like 3, and we sitting there and we one of the oldest and we had none until Nick Foles came, right, and said, listen, went in the huddle and said, listen, guys, they scored. That was good. That's cool. But we going back down and we going to score too. Run over to Peterson. Philly. This is what I want Jalen Hurts to do. Go to YouTube and listen to Mike Up, right, of the Eagles Super Bowl win, right? If you want to know what it takes, I don't care if you're here. I don't care if you're with another team. I would tell any quarterback, if you want to know what it takes, right? If Tom Brady is considered the GOAT and you want to know what it takes to beat the GOAT, then go to Russell Wilson. I don't know if they have Mike Up. You understand what I'm saying? When he beat Manning. But back to Jalen Hurts. I would like for you to explain what's going on with you. And Nick Sirianni too. Like, are you he know Jalen Hurts and, they've been around each other and he's like a big brother or a father figure, whatever the case may be. Is Nick Sirianni torn in between ripping you a new asshole like he would rip anybody else? Is he torn between checking you and putting you out there for the bullshit that you're doing, and it's causing him to digress, in his play calling or whatever the case may be, and his offensive coordinator, man, like Nick Sirianni need to strip this dude of a lot of his duties. But that's my take on the Eagles' loss yesterday.